The man suspected of assassinating political activist Charlie Kirk will make his second appearance in court today.
22-year-old Tyler Robinson faces 7 charges in Utah County, including aggravated murder. Fox 13 News political reporter Ben Winslow is joining us now with more on what we can expect from today's hearing. Sounds like, Ben, we're not going to get a look at him again.
Yeah, that's right. So what's interesting is the courts have informed us that he will now no longer appear in person as what was expected. Instead, he's going to appear virtually, and we aren't even sure if his legal counsel will be with him at the jail, where he will be listening to the proceedings without any kind of a video connection, or whether they will be there in the courtroom advocating for his interests there. This is a really brief hearing. It's called a waiver hearing. Really, these things typically last 5 minutes or less. What it essentially means is the lawyers decide if he wants to have a preliminary hearing or not. In a case like this, it's hard to imagine that they would go for a waiver to waive this preliminary hearing. A preliminary hearing is where prosecutors put on the evidence and they determine if there is enough, and the judge determines if there is enough to make someone stand trial or not. This is also an opportunity for the defense to see the strength of the case, to see really a lot more of the evidence that prosecutors have and really test it through questioning. But we're also dealing with a capital punishment case. This is a death penalty case. The Utah County Attorney's Office has already put in, a notice of intent to seek the death penalty should they get a successful conviction. And what that does is that brings in also a team of specialized lawyers. Under Utah law, we have what's called Rule 8 lawyers. These are a subset of attorneys who are qualified to handle a capital punishment case. And I'll tell you, just looking at the court docket, we do have some new things that we do know that Kathy Nestor, who was the attorney appointed to represent Tyler Robinson, has also hired some co-counsel from out of state to help with this case. This is going to be a very big case. This is going to be just a massive scale prosecution. And so that's been implemented. What we also understand is the judge has entered in a gag order, which prohibits parties from talking to the press, basically in the interest of preserving a jury. Something like this, it could be potentially very difficult to seat a jury. So, just to find people who maybe, can be impartial. And so, that's one of the reasons why judges typically implement some of these gag orders. And again, we're just waiting for this hearing to see, just kind of where they go. This will set the tone of the case, the direction of the case.
Now, really quickly, Ben, also when he was arrested, at the time of his arrest, the Washington County attorney actually gave so many details, almost at an unprecedented level. Are we expected to get more details from this part of the trial today?
No, you would not get anything like that. This is a very brief hearing. That type of evidence does, though, come out in preliminary hearings. It can come out in future hearings, motions in limine, where there's a motion to limit what exactly can be discussed, what a jury potentially could hear in these types of cases. But this hearing today, it's going to be real quick. It's just a real perfunctory measure, with Tyler Robinson not being there in person. That certainly removes a lot of what we would say is the pressure on this case. Certainly a lot of the national news media interest around this case. Worth also pointing out, there was a protective order document that was filed with the courts that determined that Robinson remains what the Utah County Sheriff's Office termed a high suicide risk. That could also be a factor in his not appearing in court in person today.
Interesting. Ben, thank you so much. We, of course, will be covering today's hearing. It begins at 10 a.m. and we will bring you the very latest right here on Fox 13. Thank you, Ben Winslow.